Well, thank you, Melinda, for joining us. And thank you
Right.
everyone else for joining us. We've got 12 there, so give us a thumbs up. Happy for you guys to keep chatting and messaging and all sorts of stuff. Just quickly, what we're going to talk about, I've just said that we're not going to focus on specific diets. We're going to just generalize diets, sort of just talk about diets in general, and then look at some options other than dieting to sort of get some healthy goals happening, or aiming for some healthy goals, if that makes sense. You happy with that, Melinda?
Yeah, no, it sounds good.
Just, guys, if you are tuning in, find a quiet spot to tune in, maybe put some headphones on so you can actually focus on what we're saying. And we'll try and keep it nice and short so you're not going to fall asleep on us, because we don't want that either. We know you've been busy and working hard all day. And I've just gone to Pilates and sped home just to be here with you guys. Okay, enough of that. Quickly about you, Melinda, can you tell me a bit about you, or tell everyone a bit about you? And yeah.
Yeah. So, hi everyone, I'm Melinda. So been working for the past 3 years as a dietitian, mainly in private practice. So working with predominantly a lot of ladies who are struggling with their weight or just not sure what to do with their eating, just confused, so much information out there. So just trying to help them find the best way for them with their eating to reach their health goals. I also specialise in paediatrics and food allergies and intolerances. I work all around, the peninsula and up towards Glen Waverley area as well.
Yeah, and you also do some online Skype type consultations as well, don't you?
Yep, so now starting to get more into the Skype as well.
Yeah, so which is great, because that means you can just reach more people, help more people. Fabulous, fantastic. All right, so okay, so yeah, stick around till the end, guys, because I've got some resources to give you guys. So if you just can hang in there, and then you can walk away with some tools that you can use to sort of get started, all right, with anything that we sort of share with you. So I just want to ask you, Melinda, just quickly, well, not just quickly, but let's have a look here. Why don't diets work? Let's start there.
Yeah, good start. So I guess we do have this diet cycle. So I guess your first reason to go on a diet is you look at yourself, you're not happy, you're just, frustrated. So you decide to go on a diet. Initially, you'll feel great, you feel back in control. So really when you go on a diet, you decide to generally restrict something, whether it's a food group or just certain food. So initially you feel great, but over time you start to feel deprived. And it's not only just physical, but emotional. So physically, our body starts to go through changes. So we start to, again, have reduction in our metabolism. So our body starts to go into a bit of starvation. So we start to see our metabolism slowing. And then at the same time, some of our hormones that regulate our appetite are increasing. So it's kind of wanting us to eat more food at the same time. So basically, there's only so long you can go before you just go, I just want to eat. And I guess this is where then we'll kind of, as most of us will look at it, fall off the wagon a little bit. So we might go and start eating a few foods, and we'll can find ourselves then falling into a bit of a binging cycle. So where we'll just go guns blazing and eat. And then once you get over that, you feel a bit guilty and go, I've stuffed it now, I might as well just keep going.
I know. I've stuffed it up. Let's just keep going while I'm at it. Yeah.
And then over time, you'll start to feel more guilty, but then you'll start to think, just again, not happy. And so the cycle starts again. So you think, okay, I've got to get over this. I'm going to start this diet again. And then the circle goes round and round. And you feel like you're failing, but really it's a diet failing you. So really everything's working against you.
Yeah, so I just wonder if anyone out there can relate to that. So they start sort of with that very, in control sort of, I'm going to do this. And then they get, started on this diet. And then for some reason there might be a celebration that comes up, or you're passing, someone handing you chocolate when you're out for coffee or something, or, and then you tend to just go, oh yeah, stuff it. It's too hard. I can't be bothered. Or it's, I really want to have that chocolate or whatever it is. So can anyone relate to that? I'd love to see some thumbs up or any chats, anything there that you want to put in there. So hopefully you're all still tuning in. I've got 18 tuning in tonight. So make some comments there if you can relate to any of that, fantastic. Lovely to see. Fantastic. Awesome. So I guess, yeah, I think that's a really important point, Melinda, that you say that the diet is failing you. Okay, so
Yeah.
because diets are not a one size, one type fits all scenario, really, is it?
No. And I think it's really finding out what works for you. It shouldn't be looking at it as like this is a short term, this needs to be a long term change. So what are you happy to do where you still feel like you can enjoy all those foods you love and still live your life, have that socializing again? Because again, food is meant to be enjoyed. And if you can't even go out with friends because you're so worried of what you can and can't eat, I guess, yeah, long term there's no way to live and there'll be only so long you can keep going like that.
Yeah, and if you're only going to do it for, 4, 8 weeks or whatever it is and get some sort of fabulous result, but actually in the long term it's not sustainable and it's not how you want to live. I mean, imagine sitting in the corner at your family's birthday function and you're not having any cake, but everyone else is, like you just wanted to, you want to enjoy those
Yeah.
moments. Yeah. Or even just, being hangry, which is another thing that people are familiar with probably, where where you're on some sort of diet and you're actually starving because you think you've got to eat less, and then you actually get a bit more angry because you are battling with wanting to eat but stopping yourself because you think that that's going to be detrimental to your efforts, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So hopefully people can relate to that, and you may have tried. People out there may have tried all sorts of different diets, and nothing's really stuck. So I guess that's what we're talking about tonight. So I guess, do you have anything else that you want to add there, Melinda?
Not really at this stage. I just feel it's trying to get away from that diet cycle because really, whichever way you look at it, if it is a diet, there is only so long before, yeah, you give up. And again, just long term looking at it, I think if you're going on and off diets, you've got to, it really does start to mess with our self esteem and our body image because we're just constantly not happy. And also, it is that feeling of failure. And I guess the more and more we go on these diets, we become more and more obsessed with the foods we're eating, and it just, yeah, can really get out of control. So I guess it's trying to get that better balance with food and having a bit more of a healthy relationship with your body as well as with the food.
Yeah, exactly. And also that good food, bad food mentality is probably that a lot of talk about getting rid of the labeling of foods as good
Yeah,
or bad. So, because that sort of instills a little bit of, let's say, self sabotage or guilt
yeah,
feelings or anything like that, doesn't it?
it does.
Associated with
Yeah.
eating certain foods. Yeah. Yep.
And I guess we could look at food has a place, whether, yes, some foods are, guess, less nutritious than others, but all food has its place in our diets. So I guess it is trying to remove those labels, looking at food is neither good nor bad. Um, every every food has its place. So again, we do have those celebration foods again, and there's nothing wrong with having those foods in your diet. And again, obviously, yeah, we do have then others like our fruit and veggies, but again, it's looking at every food has its place.
Yeah. And I guess I don't know if we're going to get. Oh yeah. So what are some common problems with dieters? Have we covered that? What are some common problems that happen with dieting or dieters?
Yeah, that's where we can say it does increase the risk of eating disorders and just in general disordered eating. Again, increased risk of depression, anxiety, because again, you're constantly worrying what you're eating. And the depression as well, that it is quite often it does affect your relationships as well. If again, you're just saying, no, I can't eat that, or again, it does really limit you. I will see clients that just will say, no, I just can't go out, it's just too hard.
Oh,
Again,
that's really sad.
yeah, it is.
Really
And
sad.
again, then we've got to look at the health risks as well. And then we do have risks if you're cutting out food groups of nutrient deficiencies. Like I'd say a big one's probably at the moment cutting out dairy. And then we've got to worry then the calcium risk and then osteoporosis later in life. So it's not just, again, the short term emotional effects, it can be the long term risks of those nutrient deficiencies.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I guess something that I try and instill in my clients is not just to weigh themselves. um, because, and I'll tell you why, because they stand on the scales and they look at the number and then instantly, like, they might feel good getting out of bed, right? They're like, oh, brand new day. I've got so many fun things to do. You know what? I'm feeling really good. I put my clothes on. Hey, something's different. I'm feeling, maybe I've lost some weight. And then they go on the scale and they
Yeah.
realize, they see the number and then instantly like, oh, damn, I was in a good mood and now I feel crap. So,
Yeah. Mm.
and then they sort of throw their hands up in the air and go, oh, this is all too hard. And they get
Yeah.
down themselves, I'm fat, I'm ugly, and say horrible things to themselves, which they wouldn't say something like that to their own child or a good friend or their parent and then they get so down on themselves, and then what do? They end up going to the pantry because they're feeling like crap and going for the crap food. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
this cycle thing going on.
Yeah.
So they're actually not picking themselves up. They're like,
Yeah.
letting the numbers or numbers on the scales determine how they feel. Like, it's just, if
Crazy.
you think about it, it sounds ridiculous, isn't it? But that's so
Yeah.
common out there. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I think you've got it right in that you can be feeling absolutely great, but as soon as you step on that scale, and if it's not showing the number that you think it should be, you feel like you've worked really hard and you're feeling good, you're like, yep, definitely I'll be lighter. You get on that scale, and if it doesn't show, then yeah, it can really derail your efforts because you're just like, well, yeah, what is the point? Or I can go the opposite way and you think, well, I just need to eat less. I need to eat less. It's not enough. I haven't obviously cut my food enough. So then you get back down onto that diet. So it goes two ways. I will see people eating more or people start to restrict more and more
Oh,
because,
yeah, that's right.
again, number, I must still be eating too much, which no, you're not eating too much. It's just your body trying to control itself.
Yeah.
Obviously, you want it to be a set weight. Again, in terms of you do have a healthy range, and I guess your weight will naturally settle where it's meant to settle at. So if you're trying to, again, shift it under where it should be, your body will try and work to keep it where it should be.
Wow, that's really interesting.
So you
Really
can be trying,
interesting.
but if you're trying to get under a realistic, healthy weight for your body will start to try and rebel and try and keep you at where you should be.
And it's
So,
constant battle with the body and the mind. And,
yeah,
really it's exhausting and you don't need to go through all that energy, really. So let's keep moving because I'm just noticing the time and I don't want to keep people waiting. Is there any, hopefully people are relating to what we're talking about. I'd love to see your thumbs up or someone's talking about emotional eating. So I guess some of these topics we can go into a lot of depth and we'll be here for quite some time, won't we? So what I might do, so for those who have questions, I'll try and help you out with some answers after the chat. Another option would be to join the program and we can help with um, certain issues around eating, I guess. Is there let's talk about shifting our focus to non-diet ways of thinking and eating. What suggestions do you have?
so I think the first thing which I find really helpful is just getting back to the basics and trying to get back in touch with your hunger and your fullness signals. So I find, again, if you have been on this dieting roller coaster, sometimes you will have even forgotten what hunger feels like because you've been so, I guess, trying to push those feelings of hunger away. So you're like, no, I can't eat, so I can't. So you kind of lose touch. It's starting to get back in tune with your body. And so I find it really helpful just to kind of sit down and go, okay, before am I hungry? What does hunger feel like to me? Using that as a guide. And then I guess, then also on the other end of the spectrum going, what do feelings of fullness feel like? How do I feel after eating? Do I feel stuffed full or do I feel comfortably full? And trying to use that as your gauge as how much you should be eating. So it can help, I find, to keep a bit of an eating awareness diary, not so much focusing on portions, but just focusing on your hunger, your fullness, what you eat, what you are eating, so the types of food you're eating and how you're feeling. Again, are those eating associated with any feelings such as stress, obviously your emotions, are you bored? So trying to really work out what is causing you to eat. Is it hunger or is it something else? And
Sometimes
I guess,
some people mistake hunger for thirst. No, thirst for hunger. And so
yeah,
they'll go for
yeah,
food before they'll have a drink of water or something.
yeah. So it is trying to work out those feelings and also going, okay, if I do think I'm hungry, okay, what do I feel like eating, or am I thirsty? So having all these questions in your head, just actually stopping and thinking, okay, am I hungry? And if I am, what do I want to eat? What do I feel will satisfy me? And I guess it is trying to trust that instinct that your body will tell you what it needs. I think the more you try and not listen to that, the more likely you are to just keep eating, because you'll go, okay, I know I should be eating that apple. I'm going to eat the apple. But you go, no, I still really want, say, like a chocolate. So, okay, I'm going to put that on my head. Oh, I'm still hungry. I'll eat like a biscuit. Okay. And over time, you'll keep eating and eating. But at the end of the day, all you want was that biscuit. So you might as well have the biscuit in the first place.
Yeah, yeah.
Not
Another little
biology.
trick, another trick, I don't know if this is something that you teach or not, is okay, I really want that biscuit, but I'm going to have the apple first and then see how I feel. Is that something
Yeah,
that you can do?
yeah, you could do that, but I guess if deep down you really want that biscuit, then you're better off to go to the biscuit first. Otherwise, what you find is you'll tend to just keep eating and eating, trying to find foods to fill that void. But at the end of the day, you'll end up eating over what you probably needed to eat just because you were trying to delay having that biscuit.
Ah, okay.
So it
Wow.
is
That's a bit
getting,
scary though. I can
yeah,
see
I
that
guess
being a bit scary.
it is scary, but I guess that's where if you're listening to that hunger and fullness awareness, and then getting back to that mindful eating as well. So I think it can be really helpful to get into some mindful eating habits. And with that, there is a lot of mindful eating exercises where you can just really slowly eat a piece of food and take in all the sensations. And you will find if you're eating something really mindfully, being in the moment, you will actually probably just be actually quite satisfied with the one, as you're taking in all the taste and the textures and the smell. And that can again really help to go, okay, this is again, I'm in the moment, and this can help me then stop when I actually need to.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I guess it's important not to deny what you do want, because again, that goes back into that deprivation. So if you're feeling deprived, there's only so long. And if you think, oh, I can't eat that, when you finally do eat it, you'll binge because you think it's a forbidden food that you
Which is
should be eating.
that diet cycle scenario again, isn't it?
Yes.
That you were
And I
mentioning.
think, yeah, it's just looking at the balance of the diet. Yes, I'm not saying go and eat chocolate every time you want something to eat. But if that is truly what you're wanting, and I guess if it's happening every day and you go, oh no, I just want that chocolate, then you've got to look at, well, why are you wanting that chocolate?
Yeah, is there another reason behind it? Are you trying to fill an emotional uh, need, I guess, or yeah.
And I guess
Okay.
that's the case, then we've got to work out strategies of how do we, what else can we do to fill that emotional void?
Ah, okay. And
So
that's where you
in the
look at
rest,
distractions. You might call a friend or
yeah,
go for a walk with someone or
yeah,
yeah, or read a
yeah.
book.
But I think it's all coming up to why you're wanting that food in the first place. And if you see there are certain foods that you are just gravitating to the whole time, you've got to look at, well, why are you gravitating towards those foods? And
Yeah.
then what could you do to overcome that?
Okay. That's really interesting. Who
Yeah.
else is finding that really interesting? And is there any questions around that idea? Um, mention I can't see any questions yet. I've got a question here about issue with eating, but we'll open up in a moment with questions overall. So anything specific to that particular thing? Does that resonate with anyone? Yes, no. Okay. So sometimes we eat because we're tired. Sometimes we eat because we're emotional. Sometimes we eat because we're actually hungry. So, and I think there's a lot we could talk about that too. There's a lot of psychological reasons that could, around food as well. And you've got to realize too, guys, if you've been on a diet roller coaster, something like this may not be easy to start off with, and it will take some practice. So don't feel like because you've just failed once with trying a new non-diet approach, that doesn't mean that it's not for you. It just means that you need to just become more aware of what you're doing. So I guess just being kind to yourself and just,
And I,
yeah, go.
and
Yeah.
I just in there, I think being kind to yourself is probably the most important thing, because again, you won't get it perfect. No one, there is no such thing as a perfect diet. There's going to be times when you eat more than you should have. or eating foods that you think, oh, I probably shouldn't eat that, I just feel yuck now. But I guess it's learning from that and going, well, why did it happen? And if it's not happening all the time, that's not a real issue. That is normal to have times when you just eat more than what you should. But I think it's looking back and going, well, if it is happening all the time, what can I do? But go, you are not going to get it perfect the first time. So just, again, be kind to yourself. And
Yeah.
again, working non-diet, it can take up to 6 to 12 months to become comfortable with some of these principles as well.
Yeah, and I think too, don't work on everything at once. Just start off
Yeah,
small. Find one
yeah,
thing that sort of you find that you're triggered for whatever reason, or something that you want to change, and just focus on that. And it might just be breakfast, or it might just be that snack after dinner, or it might just not. Don't think of it as I've got to change everything. Just focus on the one thing that you feel might be that you could may make a big difference in your overall well-being, I guess, over the course of the day and over the week and over the month. So something that you do consistently daily might be something that you want to try and work on. Would you recommend that, Melinda?
yeah. Definitely starting off with one thing you feel you could improve, because I guess if you try and do it all at once, it will get too hard. It's so overwhelming if you are trying to change things in your diet. So I think it is really important. Just pick one thing that you think, okay, this week I'm going to focus on this. Once you get that mastered, then you can move on to something else.
Yeah, yeah, cool. Um, so that's awesome, and I think that's hopefully helping a lot of people. One thing that I try and tell my clients, tell me if this is not a good idea,
Yeah.
is look at, let's say you're just using calorie counting or maybe some point system as an example, and you have a donut there that you are considering eating. And you're looking at it from, let's say you're working on a point system, and you look at it and go, how many calories is that? Well, at that point, when you're asking that question, you've already decided that you're going to eat that donut. You're just trying to work out how you can slot it into your day, right? So,
Yeah.
and then what happens? What I think is happening. So you'll eat the donut, but then you might not sort of nourish yourself with any other sort of food during the day because of its calorie count number or whatever it is. So for me, I try and teach people not to calorie count, but instead
Yeah.
look at a food from its nutritional point of view and go, is this food that I'm looking at eating going to nourish my body and fuel my body the way, to give me more energy and to help me, live my life feeling good on the inside. And if the answer is no, well, then you kind of can easily, like, I think you could probably put that donut down a lot easier and not sort of want to eat it because it doesn't have that nutritional value to it that, yeah,
Yeah.
right. It doesn't,
Yeah.
is that something that you would suggest or not?
Yeah, yes, I do look at how food makes you feel, because I guess I know, again, if I eat a really high fatty food, all the next day I want is salad, something cleansing. So I guess it is looking at, well, how does that food make me feel? Do I feel yuck after eating? Do I feel sluggish? Do I feel bloated? Or do I feel full of energy? And I guess if you work out what foods are making you feel good, you're more likely to start gravitating towards those foods.
Yeah.
And
And I
again,
guess
that's
also,
learning
yeah,
the body.
but also if you look at that donut and you know that it's not going to nourish you, but you're going to eat it anyway, then you don't have that guilt associated with it because you've
Just,
decided,
oh, yeah.
oh, I'm going to eat the donut anyway, and you're going to be okay with it. You're not going to be
Yeah.
hard on yourself.
Yeah.
So,
And I guess we've got to look, it's one donut. One donut's not going to derail your goals. If you're eating a general, nice, healthy, balanced diet, one donut at the end of the day is not going to make a difference. It's what you're doing every day, not what you do one
yeah.
day. If you want a donut, go for it. Again, if you're having them every day, then we've got to go, okay, what's going on?
Okay, why are we
Um,
doing this?
and
Yeah,
it's okay to allow yourself to those foods occasionally. And
yeah,
it's in terms of a nice balanced diet, it's looking at, well, what foods are going to fuel us and make us feeling good. But then there's also the foods that might just help, again, feel that, love of food or that emotional or something. So I guess it's looking at, if it's in a social setting, we'll go for it. But it's,
yeah.
looking at,
But obviously, watch your portion sizes at the same time.
yeah. But I think it's looking at the diet as a whole and not just focusing on specifics. I think, it's looking at the balance of the diet, and then I think once you know kind of what you feel sits well with you and what you should be kind of eating to obviously fuel your body right, I think you naturally do start to gravitate towards those
Yeah.
foods that will fuel.
Awesome. Well, I hope that's been helpful. Was there anything else that you wanted to cover?
I think again, obviously, some people think, oh, with non-diet, we're just saying eat whatever you like, but it's not that simple. I guess it is looking at your diet as a whole and going, okay, how am I going in terms of like, am I getting enough fruit? Am I getting enough veggies? Am I having my whole grains? Am I having protein, dairy? Looking at your diet and going, is there any nutritional gaps? So I guess again, if we do see those nutritional gaps, that's where you can fall off the track a little bit, or you might start getting food cravings if you're not having those nice balanced meals.
Okay.
And so I think, again, it is looking at that diet as a whole, because if you are skipping foods or your meals aren't nice and nutritionally balanced, that's where you will find it probably harder to break free from those temptations.
Okay, that's really interesting too. So, does anyone have any questions around that? I'll see. Hopefully, I can see them. If you're putting questions up, I'll just have a look while you're writing your questions, if there is any. So, I've got a very interesting tool here, or a great tool here, where you can write down the foods that you eat. This is a really good way to sort of assess where your diet is at the moment. You might think, oh, I'm really good at the moment, but then once you actually write it down, you notice there's some gaps there. All right, so that's where this is what I'm handing out for you guys tonight. So if you want to, I'll share a link with you. You just have to pop in your name and email address, and then I'll send you the letter, the little email with the with this PDF that you can print, download and print. And the little tool at the bottom here has a little guide here, or a little crossing off your water, cups of water, what's recommended for females in our age group, which is, what's that? Is that a, Melinda, what age group is the, is it
I
20
think, have we
over?
said that's 19 to 50, what we were
19 to
doing?
50, yeah. So we've got 5 serves of vegetables. So you've got little carrots there you can cross off as when you start recording down your meals and things. Your 2 fruits of veg, your 6 grains, protein, 2.5 serves, and dairies, 2.5 as well. Now, if you want to know what your protein portion sizes are for marking those things off, Melinda's got this amazing little sheet, PDF, which is called, which just describes all the portion sizes. So do you want to talk about that at all, and just, or do you?
Yeah, so that is just based off the Australian Guide to Healthy Eating. So it is using that as a guide of how many serves we should be aiming for in each of those food groups. Again, this is a guide, so if you're slightly off, again, it's not the end of the world, but I guess it is just used as a good guide of what would be generally considered healthy eating.
Yeah, and that's where you start to understand what sort of sizing for each food group, and you can start marking them off on here. So I've got a little challenge for you guys who are watching tonight. So when you download and print off your PDF, and I just want you to do the next 3 days. Just do 3 days worth and see if you can notice any nutritional gaps in your eating and your diet. So then that's when you can start just adding things that may be missing, or maybe you're eating a lot more of one thing rather than the other, and you may need to back off on the portions. So that's a handy little tool for everyone that's watching tonight. So all you need to do is, I'll put the link up in the comments for you guys to sign up to grab the, oh, here it is here. I'm just going to add it to the comments. So if you just go to the link, put your details in, and then you'll get an email with the downloads. Anyway, and there's also a program that we're running next week. I'll just finish up quickly, and hopefully I'll get some questions. I can't see any questions, so we'll come back to those questions in a minute. There's a health and wellness kickstart program that's next week. So if you do your little food tracker, you notice some nutritional gaps and you want some more support and accountability around that, Melinda and I are available in this program that I'm running next week. So it's with I Want Fitness. Melinda has we have a webinar there on the foundations of nutrition, and what, which is a really handy little video that you can watch in your own time. And then we'll also have Melinda come and do some Q&A videos like we do tonight. so she can answer some of your questions as well. So that's a really, and then we have heaps of handouts. I'm going to keep you on track. I'm going to give you some, keep you organised, give you some tips and ideas on how you can, just create some new habits around your nutrition. And there's also unlimited boot camp included in that as well at Wanturna and Ringwood. So yeah, so hopefully you guys can join us for that, and I'm here to support everyone and also enjoy the process. Yeah, so thanks, Melinda. Do you want to add anything?
No, I think, yeah, we've covered it all tonight, but obviously those Q&As will be the opportunity to get into a few more specifics as well in terms of any
That's
of your
right.
nutrition. And so tonight was a very good overview, but then in those programs we'll be able to get down to a bit more of a nitty-gritty. You do have a few more specific questions.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, so I think.
so exactly like, some people ask a lot about, dairy and specifically, cheese or, about grains or, anything like that. So it's about supporting a healthy weight management process, a non-diet approach. And you'll find that along with the exercise and also the mindset that we go over, that you'll start feeling a lot better inside and out. Yay! Isn't that what we all want?
Yes.
Isn't that what we want? We want to feel good. Anyway, sorry, I'm just getting a bit excited. Hopefully, look, how many people we got left? We got 12. Come on, keep waving at me, guys, if you're still here. Oh, you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. And I look forward to yeah. So come check in with me. Once you've done 3 days worth, check in with me. Even if you don't sign up, I don't care. Check in with me and see how you're going and see what you've discovered about your eating. And thank you so much, Melinda from Lifestyle Nutrition, for joining us. I'll put her link in the comments as well for her Facebook page. If you can go over and like Melinda's Facebook page. Anything else, Melinda? If you want to have a consult with you, do you have anything, any specials?
If you do have any more, specifics that you want help with, again, I am available for Skype consults. Again, over on my website, the link is in my Facebook, is all my clinic locations as well if you do want to see me in person. But yeah, so you've always got that opportunity as well.
Yeah, excellent. Thank you so much. Good night, everyone. Have a good night. Thank you, Melinda. All right, chat to you soon. Say hi to your mum.
Bye.
See ya.